Now today we're going to have a look at this Makita LXT battery angle grinder, which has just ground to a halt. All that happens when you switch it on is the red light comes on indicating it's jammed, and the motor, it's pretty solid. We can't actually move that, so we're going to find out what's going on. First, obviously, remove the battery. Don't want it going off there. So what we've got here is the gear head that goes into a motor inside there. So let's have a look at what's inside there. I'm going to take the gear head screws out. And now the gear head can separate off. And you can see the 90-degree drive that's inside there. Just put that to one side. We need to remove the brushes. The brushes push onto the side of the motor, so if we don't take those out, we'll be in trouble. And then we've got the brushes sitting in there, so I can just gently ease that up and extract the brushes. The brushes are in good condition. Same on the other side. There's a little screwdriver slot there, and that allows you to ease that motor head out a little bit, and then we can take the casing apart. And what we've got inside here is the motor, the permanent magnet, which is in there. Those are the rotor windings, so this should be the bit that rotates, but it's making a hideous grinding noise at the moment. That's where the brushes go onto the motor windings. This is the control switch. In this case, when you press that switch forward, it pulls against this switch here. That switches it on. And being a battery electric drill, it's got a little control circuit in there which detects if it's jammed and switches the power off if it detects a fault. Quite a sophisticated little thing. So if I pull the motor head out, there we go. That's the motor. The important bit is the brushes just here. This is where the brushes go on. That bearing's in good condition. That bearing's in good condition. So it's all right. There's a bit of dirt in there which we can blow out. If we pull that's just some LED lights. If we pull the permanent magnet out, yeah, we can see damage in there. It's full of this debris. So it's a bit difficult to get it out, but it's full of this angle grinding dust, and some debris got in there, and it's a little bit difficult to see, but there's actual gouges out of the permanent magnet there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up, mostly by grabbing as much of this as I can. I'm wearing gloves, and just punching it out, and we end up with great lumps of this filth. So I'm just going to pinch as much of that out as I can can certainly get the big lumps out. And because I've got an airline, I'm going to blow it out. But if you're just doing this at home, you've just got to take your time brushing it all out, cleaning all the debris out. Once that all goes back together, permanent magnet can go back in, flashy lights on it, it can go back in. I've also cleaned out the motor, so that's all clean now. No detritus in there. Very carefully, without damaging anything, I'm going to put the motor back into the magnet. It'll pull as it goes in there, so that's fine. And we've got to make sure that that bearing at the back there goes in the right place and seats nicely. All the time we're making sure that there isn't any dirt or anything like that to jam things up. I'll now put the casing back on. Right, now we're going to turn the motor around and see if it still makes some noise now that everything's lined up. That's spinning around lovely, it's not making any noise. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosely do the screws up to start off with. I'm not going to tighten any of the screws yet, I'm just going to do them all up loosely. Now, if any of the screws don't feel right as they go in, what you do is you unscrew them and start again. Never push on when the screw doesn't feel right. So none of these are tight yet, they're just nipped up lightly. Now I'm going to progressively tighten them up until they're all tight. And finally tighten the gear head screws. Right, double check that it still runs okay. Sounds good. I'll put the brushes back in. Make sure there's no dust on the brushes when you put them back in. Make sure everything's clean and tidy. Get the dust caps back on. This is a lovely touch with these. That's better. Now put the drive cog back on. The disc. Tighten that up. Okay, moment of truth, does it now work? Perfect, job's a good one.